All right. Hello. I'm in the right place. Hello, everybody. We are live. I'm so excited to see you guys here today. So, welcome to our DataHub Town Hall. If you're new here, we actually do this every month, but we're doing it on Zoom. And so, I'm 𝗞𝗲𝘆 and I am the new DataHub Community Manager. And I'm excited to be here. And we have a really exciting show for you guys today. So let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and kind of share our cast of members here and do some introductions. And then we're going to go ahead and get started. Very super cool stuff. All right. Hello, lovely people. How are we? Let's get your titles in here. All right. So just say hi from everybody just because this is brand new. So let's start out with Shanka. Actually, let me arrange you a little bit. John, Neelab, Maggie. Let us rock and roll. So Shanka, quick intro.
Hey everyone, I'm Shashanka. Created this project back at LinkedIn, spent a bunch of time there, and then founded Acryl Data to take DataHub everywhere. And that's the journey we've been on. It's really fun to be back on LinkedIn. It's kind of like a full circle moment for me, really, to be on the platform that, in some sense, I helped build back in the day. So exciting! Wow, feels like day zero again.
Yeah, thank you. And then we have John Joyce, co-founder and engineer. Hey, John.
Hey folks, I'm John, co-founder at Acryl. Previously, I also was at LinkedIn where I worked on big data governance initiatives. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about a track that I'm working on observability. With that, I'll hand it off.
And let's hand over to the lovely Miss Maggie Hayes.
Hello, everybody. I'm Maggie, founding community product manager for DataHub. Coming and bringing Miko on my team and building out our community team is pretty amazing. Today, we're going to be talking about some exciting product updates. We'll also talk through our roadmap and we'll dig on into it. It's going to be good.
Yay. All right. And then we have our case study guest. Last but not least, which you're excited about, Neelab.
Oh yeah, super excited. Yeah, we have been working with DataHub for quite some few time now, and we're looking forward to provide a case study present to the world. Yeah.
Awesome. And then Joel, also from Fanatics.
Hey everybody, glad to be here.
Yay. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and take them off the screen and we are going to get started. We have quite a show for you guys today. And so let me go ahead. So we'd like to see the comments. Let's make sure we get the comments going. So bear with us because we are a little bit new. But let me see who's in the comments. So where's everybody from? Can we get some locations? Where are you guys from? We'd love to kind of hear from you and also make sure our comments are working. We're so excited. Where is everybody from? I see we have quite a full house here. All right, let us see here. Yay. All right. Shashanka said Bay Area boring. New York, Brazil. Yay. Seattle. Awesome. San Fran. All right. Minneapolis. Yay. Leeds, UK. Awesome, guys. I love it. I see we have a lot of San Fran energy. Texas, India. Wow. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you. Those guys who are in India, like, thank you for like logging in. We appreciate you. All right, cool. Wow, French Riviera. All right, so thank you guys for that energy. As I said, we have a full show today. I'm gonna go ahead and get started by sharing my screen. So I'm hoping that you guys will be able to see here today. Yes. All right, so let us go ahead and get started. So welcome to our town hall. So the first thing, as I said, is my name is 𝗞𝗲𝘆, and we have a packed agenda today. So today we are going to be going over, I will be going over initially just some quick updates, some announcements, some shout outs. Those of you who are in the audience, you know that we absolutely show you tons of love. We're then going to invite you guys to join us at a few conferences that are coming up. So we're really excited. Also, we have some exciting project updates that is coming in from Shashanka and Maggie on DataHub search. Okay. And then Maggie's going to do an awesome product roadmap. So, for the first time, we're going to do an update on the DataHub OSS and our Acryl data product, which is super cool. And then John Joyce is coming in and he's going to give us our latest on Acryl Observe. And then we have a quick sneak peek by Maggie on our nested domains. And last but not least is our case study by Fanatics. Guys, I'm so excited. They're going to talk about how they're decoding their data democratization with DataHub. Okay, so let's start out first with these shout outs. And if you guys could let me know in the comments what you're most excited to hear about, that'll help us out as well. All right, so let's get started with a few cool updates. So, guys, oh my gosh, my gosh, my gosh, my gosh, 400 new members. We are at 86 plus 100. Actually, I think we just updated these slides last night, and I'm pretty sure that this number might be 8,700 right now. But thank you so much for our 400 new members. In addition, active, we have over 1,000 members active, over 8,000 messages, and 500 reactions, guys. We are on fire. So if you are in the audience and part of our DataHub Slack, please put some emojis and let us know. We want to hear from you. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're not, you absolutely need to make sure that you join us, and I'll make sure to post the link on the bottom. All right. Now, in terms of the DataHub support, also some exciting news. So, what you guys will see here is that we have about 44 PRs that are open in a week. We have on average about 429 support messages in the past 4 weeks. So, you guys could see, long story short, even though it is the summertime, we are growing, right? So things are moving up. So if you're not a part of our DataHub community, you absolutely have to join us. Also, if you are in our Slack, and even if you're not, again, you need to join us. You guys, we have a new channel that we started, and it's called the Think Tank, and it's pretty cool because Shashanka, our co-founder, started it, and it's a space to really get your content highlighted if you are a thought leader. Hint, hint, calling all thought leaders. Also, if you just want to get high quality content, you definitely need to join our Slack channel and make sure that you join the Think Tank. Okay, so lots and lots of exciting announcements there. All right. There are a few shout outs that we want to give. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to view this tab in here. Give me 1 second. I really want to make sure that I am on the screen as we are doing these shout outs. So give me 1 second here. All right. Okay. All right. So we have a few shout outs that we want to make sure that we give here. And let me 1 second here. I just want to make sure that I put on the bottom. So those of you who want to join the Slack group, I did make sure to put on the bottom, not that I want you to leave, but I did make sure to put here that you guys could use a QR code, or I put the link in the bottom to join us on Slack. Okay. So talking about the Slack hub, guys, we have some insane support in the community and people who just continue to support us. Massive thanks to Walt Tang, Lu Zialong, David Schmidt, he's part of our team actually, and Shishang. I just want to say thank you guys so much, including a host of other people who just continue to help us. All right. So if you're in the audience, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're not, because we have people from all different time zones, that's fine as well. But thank you, thank you, thank you for in the audience for all of your support. Last but not least, I want to make sure that we invite you to join us at one of our upcoming fall conferences. So, how many of you are going to Airflow? Let me go back and see if I could look at the comments. How many of you are heading over to Airflow? Just put Airflow in the comments. Very, very cool stuff. And so if you're heading over to Airflow, I have an exciting opportunity for you to meet none other than Shashanka. So if you're heading over to Airflow, you can go ahead and scan this QR code to set up a coffee with Shashanka. He's going to be talking about how to use data contracts for data quality in your Airflow ecosystem. So again, let us know. Just type Airflow in the comments if you're heading to Airflow. We would absolutely love to meet you there. All right. So I'm going to leave the QR code on just for a few seconds. Again, if you click on here, you guys can go ahead and scan it, and you can actually have a coffee directly with Shashanka. All right. And Shashanka is awesome, by the way, guys. And don't worry, I'm going to do our best. Like, we have a channel that we're creating in Slack, and we're going to hope to give everybody his slides as early as possible. And if you haven't heard Shashanka talk, you're absolutely missing you're missing a class act. All right. So, and then let us move on here. So let me go ahead and remove that QR code. I could put it back up later if you want. All right. And then current. So how many of you Kafka people, so go ahead and put current in the chat, are going to be at current? So Acryl and DataHub actually have a boot there, boot 318. And so you come in and you make a right. How many of you are going to be there? If you're going to be there, type current in the comments. We want to see you. So please come and see us. I believe it's September 26th to 28th. We want to meet you. And then last but not least, I'm going to be there. DBT Coalesce, same thing. If you're going to be at DBT, let us know. Put it in the comments. We're going to have a rock and roll. We're actually launching some big community stuff, guys. So I personally have some big plans for this event for the Data Hub community. So if you're going to be there, please, please, please type Data Hub in the comments. We'd absolutely love to meet you. All right, and then we have a quick Acryl data announcement. So not to tout our own horn, I actually put this in here because I thought I was very proud of it. I love working at Acryl. Our team is like a family. And so we recently won the Will Reed Award, which means we have a very human first culture. But more importantly, if you go to our page, we are recruiting very hard. We have like 6, 7 roles available. And particularly our front end engineer, if you know someone that is looking for a role, front end engineer role is on there. Please go to our LinkedIn page and apply. So that's the reason we put this up here, not to tout our own horn, but we actually want to tell people we have a fantastic culture, and I can vouch for that. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Shashanka back on the screen. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the comments here. And so let me bring on Shashanka, and he's going to provide some awesome updates. Hey, Shashanka.
Hey everyone, super cool to be
Yay.
back. Um, it's it's been a fun August. We looked at the stats last night and we counted them all, once again, and it's looking really good. So let's move forward to the next slide, which I am supposed to be able to do, right? There we
I'll
go. All right. So we merged close to 200 PRs in August, which is the usual number. So we're doing really well. I'm scared for September because everyone's back from summer and they're going to be grinding on those keyboards. So it's going to be pretty crazy, but the team's ready. And we have V0.11 coming up, and I'm really excited about that. Maggie is going to go through a lot of detail into all of the upcoming updates, and it's looking really good. As usual, a lot of first-time updates, first-time contributors. Welcome, you all. It's great to not only see people contributing via Slack, but actually contributing via code. We love that, and that really builds kind of that community and makes the project velocity be what it is. And of course, there's a bunch of people who keep contributing back, and that's great too. So love to see the large group of active contributors to the project every month. Moving on, something that is very near and dear to my heart, and hopefully something that's extremely useful for the community. We heard we've always missed having versioned docs. So many times people would say, I tried out the docs, it's not working. And we would say, well, which version of DataHub are you running? And then we go, oh, okay, well, it's in the latest version. So finally, we have version docs, and it was something that Heijin and Herschel took on, and they just ran with it. And I'm so glad that it's now live. So essentially now you're always going to be able to see the latest stable release docs, and then also the upcoming docs for the new release that is baking. So next is basically always the release that's coming, and then the previous one will always be available. So hopefully that's, that was something that came up in the Pulse of Developer Community survey. So as you can see, we take your feedback really seriously, and then we act on it. So pat on the back for ourselves, but big thanks to the team for actually turning this around. It was a complex one. So really happy to see how that turned out and give us feedback. All right, so that's docs. Moving on to actual product features. So user experience, bunch of improvements. You're now able to manage pin posts from the UI. A little bit embarrassing. Before this, we had to tell people, well, here's a graphical or GraphQL API. Please go use that if you want to manage your posts from the UI. Thanks to Patrick for contributing this nice feature. Developer experience, the CLI now supports recursive delete. So now you can delete a parent glossary term and all of the children below it, or a parent container and all of the children below it. So now you can kind of clean up your metadata with the same ease that you have of ingesting metadata into DataHub. So we're making it easy to get metadata in and then also to check it, kick it back out. On the metadata ingestion front, as usual, lots and lots of updates. But if I had to call out a couple of things that are super interesting and exciting, Tableau column level lineage is incubating. So that's going to be very cool. As you know, we open sourced a column level lineage SQL parser, and DataHub is column level lineage is now built on top of that. And so we're kind of rolling that out to all of the individual connectors. BigQuery came first, and then we're rolling it out to all of the other connectors slowly. And so Tableau is next. The other interesting thing that we did was, and this was another question that people asked repeatedly, hey, I have got one data hub over here and I've got another data hub over there. Can I keep these two in sync? And we built exactly something that'll help you do that. So you now support DataHub itself as a source for metadata. And of course, we're using it a lot for migrations to Acryl nowadays. So a lot of companies that are adopting open source DataHub and then they want to move on to the managed product, we just give them the DataHub source and we say, well, just turn it on in your open source instance and it'll just start listening to the stream and start ingesting metadata over to the Acryl product. But you can also use the same source to even keep multiple DataHub instances in sync. So that's pretty cool. Highly recommend you try it out and give us feedback and improve it. And this is a very brief overview of what's coming. I'm so glad I can actually speak. Earlier this week, I had completely lost my voice. I was like, Maggie, you're going to do all of the product updates this time. But I'm so glad that I got to at least share some of the exciting stuff that have happened. And with that, I'll hand it over to Maggie to talk about all of the product improvements as well as the product roadmap.
Hello. All right. Let me make sure that so Miko, I still can't advance the slides, so I'm going to need you to do that for me.
Fine. I will switch it over to your screen. Give us 1 second. Sorry. So let me enable your screen. Okay, that's you, Maggie.
Oh, I didn't realize. I wasn't ready. Okay, hold on 1 second.
It's okay.
Got me off guard. All right, give me 1 second, guys.
While we're waiting, guys, go ahead and put your questions in. If you guys don't mind, go ahead and put it in here, and we will show them on the screen. So if you guys have questions in here, go ahead and place them in the chat, please. All right.
All right, we are good to go. Okay, so folks, search in DataHub is basically one of the most critical things that we can support. It's critical to helping people actually find what they need. It's helping analysts or business users kind of connect and understand what resources are available to them. So we're constantly trying to find ways to make that search experience better. What I'm going to go through this very quickly because we have a lot to cover in this session. So I'll be releasing kind of a more in-depth walkthrough of this in chat or in Slack soon. But at a super high level, we have, if you all are using views within DataHub, we have moved that into, we have moved that into the search bar to make it much more easy to understand what you're searching for and how it's being filtered using those views. Another small kind of update here on the search previews is that we have combined what we call sibling nodes. So before, if you had a DBT in a Snowflake table called pet details, it would show up as 2 results. We just collapsed those together to make it just much more concise. There's some big ones in here, guys. So what you'll notice is that when, so up here on the top left, we have our views embedded in the search bar. When you search for the term pet, you're going to start to have context highlighting. So you can understand why you're actually kind of contextualizing, why am I being shown these results? But the other thing I want to call out is that we now support the ability to sort by alphabetically and by relevance and when it was last updated in source. This has been a big request for a long time. I'm really, really excited to get this one out there. The other thing, I'm showing these in the wrong order. That's a bummer. Oh crap, guys, I'm sorry. So oftentimes there, or what we were seeing before is that when people would search for something within a view, they weren't exactly sure why limited results were coming back. And so what we did is when there are no results, we suggest clearing that view or searching for a similar term. I'm going to hop out of presentation mode. 1 second. Just to show what this one looks like. But we now support, sorry guys. If you have a pesky typo, we will now give you a recommendation for a related search term for it. So again, just making it much easier for folks to kind of get in there and start finding the resources that are relevant to them. Another thing is when you're in the domains experience and you have one of those views applied, we're also giving a call out on the bottom right-hand corner. So you can really understand when a view is applied or kind of like why those entities are being filtered down. So yeah, so that's it for search experience. Like I said, I breezed through that really quickly, but I will be recording kind of a more in-depth walkthrough, and I'll be sure to share that out in our Slack. So let's talk roadmap.
1 second. Before you go forward, we did have a question, and I wanted to make sure that we are addressing. I think this question could be for Shashanka, but I wanted to put it on the screen here. And so we had Alexander Platonov asks, when do you plan to release data contracts in open source version? And he put channel talk data contracts looks dead. So who wants to take that one?
Yep. So I'm actually going to be talking about this in my next slide.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Great timing. You read my mind.
Okay. And
okay,
guys, you
so
can kind of hold on your questions in the comments, and our team will address it, and hopefully I'll pull up the good ones up here. All right, go ahead, Maggie.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk roadmap. We're going to break this down. This is the first time we're going to do it this way. We're going to break this down into 2 different sections. One is going to be our open source roadmap. So what is available within the open source project, and then separately we'll do a high-level overview of what's coming in Acryl Cloud. So first and foremost, so these are all things that we either have in flight or they're on our near-term roadmap. First and foremost, we are currently in development on supporting nested domains. I'm going to dig into that in a separate session later on, so I'm going to move quickly past that one. We are also going to be taking a second pass on our metadata analytics, and this is really focused on providing much more kind of functionality around the different dimensions that you can kind of break down your analytics into, and also kind of looking at time series views of it. So kind of understanding how has your ownership changed over time? How has your documentation coverage changed over time? So much more kind of flexibility coming there. Another thing is that entity owners, so data set owners, dashboard owners, pipeline owners, you will soon be able to certify your assets within DataHub. So we're working through some designs there, but that is something that continually comes up within the community. Folks really want to be able to provide that kind of certification signal within the entities that they own. So we are currently working on designs on that, and we'll be picking up development shortly. Data products are currently supported within DataHub, but we're going to be expanding this to support the ability to assign inputs and outputs. So this is kind of introducing the notion of lineage within a data product. And then last but not least, data contracts are, we're going to be working on supporting the ability to define those via YAML and then attach them to the relevant entities. I can't remember who asked the question. I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. But we are going to be picking that up. Shashanka, I don't know if you want to speak to like any specific timelines there.
Yeah, we're planning to open source all of the work that we demoed the previous town hall, in May town hall, in the next 4 weeks, kind of coinciding obviously with the presentations at Airflow Summit, as well at Current and then later at Coalesce. So yeah, data contracts will be coming to the open source data hub by end of September for sure.
Awesome.
Of course, there'll be some variants of that in the managed product, and perhaps we can cover that in a later conversation.
All right. All right. So now let's talk Acryl Cloud. So this is our managed offering of DataHub. We have a bunch of exciting AI related features that we're working on. The idea here is really, we want to harness AI to do kind of like the repetitive or redundant work. and also to enrich the search experience. So this is going to be really tailored towards the business user, the end user, to help with our documentation efforts, to help with our tagging and kind of term alignment suggestions, and then making the search experience much more verbose. We're looking into some support for natural language search, et cetera. And talking about minimizing redundant work, we're going to be looking into ways to automatically propagate metadata from entity to entity based off of their lineage associations or also just relevance in general. So that way, if you are tagging something as PII or sensitive or classified, we should just be automatically tagging everything else that's related to it, just to minimize the number of kind of manual tasks that are required there. We recently rolled out subscriptions and notifications for Slack on Acryl Cloud. We're going to be expanding that out to Microsoft Teams and also email. So for those of you who are not using Slack, that's fine. We'll come and get you. And then John's going to go into more detail here, but our Acryl Observe module is going to be supporting the creation of monitors to look at specific column metrics and then custom SQL assertions to give much more flexibility over how you want to create those monitors and those alerts within your observability initiatives. So plenty of exciting things coming up. Like I said, this is the first time that we're doing kind of a combination of what's coming to open source and Acryl Cloud. But I will keep an eye on chat if anybody has questions. And I believe we're going to pass it over to Mr. John.
Yeah, that's a perfect transition. Thank you so much for that, Maggie. So I think we definitely have a few people that are in the comments here. I was here looking, so give me 1 second here, and then we'll go ahead and bring John up on the screen. All right, 1 second here. All right, so let's bring John on. Thank you, Maggie and Shashanka, and we will bring you guys back. Okay, so... All right. Okay. Hey, John.
Hey, Miko.
Are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we're excited today. So we're going to have John share with us about Acryl Observe. Again, if you guys have questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the Slack and we will address it. But without further ado, let me go ahead and share your screen here, and then we should be good to go. Give me 1 second, John. All right, John.
All right.
You
Thanks,
ready to
Miko.
roll? All right, cool. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to try to fit this into our 10-minute slot here. Hey, everybody. I'm John, and right now I'm leading the observability track at Acryl. So today I'm going to walk through sort of where we are on the track and where we're going. I wanted to start by just touching on the mission of the team at Acryl here, the observability team. You know, our goal is really to help organizations make their most important data assets reliable. And what do I mean by reliable? Well, I mean consistently high quality through time. And it's interesting because when you talk about data quality, you know, what does that exactly mean? Well, it means that the customers of the data, their expectations are being met by the data. Ultimately, the customers are the ones driving that. And that touches on kind of the guiding principle of our initiative here, which is the data consumers, or maybe we should actually call them data customers, should not be the first ones to encounter data issues. After talking to many customers and partners, we found repeatedly that we heard that data end users, whether it's a decision maker looking at a dashboard, or even worse, a user using our product, often they're the first to encounter these hard to detect data quality issues. In our minds, the customer should never, regardless of what the product is, the customer should never be the one doing the QA and encountering the issues first. But the customer should be the first to be informed about data issues because ultimately they are the stakeholders and they're the ones who will be impacted when something goes wrong. And what exactly can go wrong as a customer using some data? Well, there's a few different categories of issues that we've identified through talking with community partners. The first is unexpected schema changes. So for example, an upstream table can have a column added or removed, or maybe the name changes or its type changes, and that breaks the downstream consumer's expectations of the data. In some cases, this is actually easier to detect because a query engine like Snowflake or Redshift or BigQuery may actually prevent us from issuing a select query that's invalid. So maybe the impact is stopped at the source. But oftentimes, especially if you're using nested JSON columns, for example, that's not the case. Delayed data is kind of the second category. This is when some data should have been updated at a certain time, or at least we're expecting it to be updated by a certain time, and it doesn't. This can happen for a variety of reasons, like application code bugs or scalability issues that take down an ETL pipeline. And then the final category is unexpected semantic changes, or when the meaning of a particular row or column in a table changes without us being aware of that in advance. The classic example I give is you have a purchases table that records every purchase that's made on an e-commerce website. And on day 2, we add purchases that are made from our mobile application into the table. The meaning of the data set completely changes from day 1 to day 2. And if, as a consumer, we're not made aware of that, our expectations can be broken and our downstream products can be broken. The second and third category in particular are extremely difficult to prevent altogether. It's not clear how you would prevent delayed data because there's so many ways that that can happen. So our kind of key driving principle is, when total prevention isn't possible, early detection is the next best thing. And so with that, I will talk about what we're building on the observability track. First of all, we're building data quality assertions that are run natively by DataHub. This allows data consumers and producers to create and schedule their assertions in just a few clicks through DataHub's UI. We're building a real-time health monitoring dashboard that will enable your central data teams to track data issues in real time and then prioritize the effort towards the highest return on investment, those assets that are most critical for the business. Incidents and notifications, so being able to raise data issues, to broadcast them to stakeholders when they happen, and to notify the right people when things go wrong. And then finally, AI-powered smart assertions, which are auto-generated data quality checks that are based on the historical trends of your data sets. With that, I'm going to jump over to DataHub and just demo a few key features that we've worked on in the past few weeks. And to do that, I'm going to start with the purchase event table here, which is a table on our BigQuery instance. You can imagine it represents purchases that were made on our mobile app. So we've got a bunch of columns here. And what you'll notice is if you navigate to the validation tab, there's a different flow here, which allows you to create data quality tests directly inside of DataHub. So I'm just going to walk through the process of creating one as an example to show you what we're doing. You can see first that there's a variety of categories of checks that DataHub will support. Freshness checks, which allow you to define expectations about when your data should be updated and then monitor those over time. Volume checks, which allow you to define expectations about the row count or the size of a data set, and again, monitor those over time. And then column and custom checks, which are currently in progress, with column being column statistics like uniqueness, nullability, distribution statistics, etc., and custom being custom SQL query-based checks. As an example, I'll just show you the process of setting up one of these checks with the freshness assertion as an example. Freshness assertions basically allow us to monitor when this table changes. And basically what we can do is say that if this table should change every day, we want to actually check that and make sure that some rows were inserted into the table every day. So the first thing we do is schedule the check to run every day, and we'll run it at 6 a.m. Then we can say what we want to do every time we check the table. We can either check whether rows have been inserted since the previous check or in a fixed window of time. For example, between midnight and 6 a.m. today. So we'll actually use that one. And then finally, we can determine how we want to run these checks. So we actually give you that control. We can use the audit log from BigQuery, or we can actually use a column in the table itself to monitor whether the table has changed. For example, if we have a last modified column that we're keeping track of the row update times with, we can actually use that to determine whether the table has changed. On the final step, we can determine what we want to do when the check fails. For example, we can raise an incident when the check fails to broadcast that there's an active data issue going on with this table. And we can correspondingly resolve any open incidents when the assertion goes back into a passing state. I'll show you what the assertions will look like once they start to be run by DataHub. So we already have a freshness assertion, and this one's been running for some time, every minute. So you can see that it's actually failing every time we check this table, because the last time we updated the table was actually last week. You can imagine if we're inserting rows, these would be green and we would be passing the assertion. The second type of assertion shown here is the volume assertion, which basically just does an assertion against the row count of the table. You can see that it's matching because we have 15 rows in this table. So once you've defined your assertions on your most critical assets, DataHub also enables you to search and discover assets that have active data quality issues. If we go to the search filter experience, you can see two new types of filters we're supporting. The first being for assets that are failing their tests, and the second being assets that have active incidents right now. This allows you to cut down the scope of all of your assets to just those that have active issues. You'll also notice that we have a new indicator appearing in search, which allows you to see the assets that have ongoing data quality issues and jump directly into the context from the search page. Finally, we're showing these insights in the lineage view as well. So now using DataHub lineage, you can understand whether an upstream asset has active issues before you use a downstream asset. And finally, I'll touch on a central monitoring dashboard that we're working on, which allows you to understand at a glance all of the assets that have active incidents or failing assertions, and filter those down based on the classic DataHub filters like platform, tags, glossary terms, and more. And this is a place where your central team can begin to triage active data issues. Finally, I'll talk about one last feature, which is the smart assertions feature. DataHub will automatically try to infer data quality rules about your data. In this case, we've inferred that the data set should be updated every single 8-hour interval, and we'll actually start running that for you, allowing you to understand when there's data quality issues automatically without having to do any configuration on your side. All right, now I'm going to jump back into the slides and just talk about where we are going with the track. Recap of all of the things we've gone through. So first, I'll talk about why Acryl has an advantage in data quality capability. The first is we enable you to easily create data quality rules without writing any code. We serve as a centralized repository for trust about data, both operational trust and governance and compliance trust in one place. And then finally, we're a single link that you can send to anybody inside of your organization, whether it's a marketing analyst, a data engineer, a software engineer, or a decision maker. In terms of availability, Acryl Observe is in private beta now. We're working with a handful of customers and rolling this out incrementally. If you'd like to try it out, please let us know, and we will absolutely enable it for you as well. Coming soon, SQL assertions, column assertions, schema assertions, and extended integrations. Currently, we're focused on Snowflake, BigQuery, and Redshift. With that, I want to say thank you and hand it back to Miko.
Yeah, awesome, John. Thank you for that. We had a little bit of a snafu there, John. Thank you. Let me just bring back Shashanka, Maggie, and John on. We have a few questions here really quick, and I know that we're running on time, and I just wanted to see if we could address them here. So you plan to add lineage for Kafka. Who wants to take that one real quick? Maggie, Shashanka, or John?
I mean, we have lineage for Kafka Connect, and lineage for Kafka, meaning I guess general purpose Kafka consumers, is something that's on our roadmap, but we don't have immediate plans to add it. Would love to. Would you please reach out over Slack and kind of we can kind of figure out exactly the kind of lineage you're looking for, and perhaps we can actually figure out a way to get it on our near-term roadmap.
Okay, then we have another one here from Victor. Do you have information about architecture roadmap? For example, is a migration from Elasticsearch 7 to 8 planned?
Yes, we're actually scoping Elasticsearch 8 upgrade as we speak. The platform team has been pretty heads down looking at scoping this out and figuring out what it would take. So perfect timing. Yes, we have a plan for it. Definitely happening in the next quarter. Ideally, a little sooner than that, but obviously we have to be careful about making sure that it doesn't break any previous installations or older installations. So yes.
All right, and then one more, and then we have Maggie for 5 minutes, and then we'll have our Fanatics case study. Product question: when will AWS Neptune database DB supported as the Graph DB? It is mentioned on the website and has been there for about a year, but it still looks like Neo4j is the only Graph DB supported. Is that Maggie?
I can take that too. Actually, there are two GraphDB supported, Neo4j and dgraph. AWS Neptune DB is something that we've looked at, not something that has come up in a huge way. It's actually pretty easy to add new graph databases to the backend, so would love to get a contribution on that. And yeah, that's all we have on that.
All right. Thank you guys. So thank you, John. Thank you, Shashanka. I'll go ahead and take you guys off here. And then Maggie, why don't we thank you, John, so much. If you could hop in the comments, see if there's any comments on YouTube or LinkedIn. And guys, thank you so much for the comments that you guys have coming in. I would say just keep them coming. And then without further ado, I'm going to put Miss Maggie back on the screen. And Maggie, you can go ahead.
Alrighty. So as I mentioned before, we have some work in flight to support nested domains. But before we even talk about that, what is a domain? What does that even mean? So for those of you who are familiar with data mesh architecture, domains is a core component of that strategy where you divide your organization's data into much more kind of smaller units or smaller groupings of data. Within each domain, the owners of that domain are responsible for the data across systems, regardless of where it's created or how it's used. So it's including the collection, processing, and storage of data, specifically data products. So for example, we see folks create domains based off of different business units or areas of work, common workflows. So for example, if we think about marketing as one, operations as one, product and engineering as one. Right now in DataHub, we support all of these at the same level, but you can imagine a marketing domain is always much more than just, it's kind of a broad stroke. So if we actually started to think about this in terms of the subdomains, marketing may have a social media domain and an ads domain and an SEO domain, and operations may have infrastructure and security and privacy. Product engineering might have mobile apps and e-commerce, which this is covered up by the slide, but it's fine. So right now in DataHub, our domains are all at one level. So there's not a way to have to kind of mimic those same logical groupings of how organizations are structured. So we're currently working on supporting nested domains. So what I'm going to do is show you some examples, basically just some mocks of the current state and future state, just to kind of give you a sense of where we're headed there. So currently in DataHub, if you go into our domains portal, like I said, you'll just see kind of the flat structure of domains. There's just one level of them. But going forward, we're actually going to overhaul this whole experience so you can actually create, create nested structures of domains at any level of nesting that you'd like. And then we'll also give you just a more robust preview of what's contained within that domain, including the owners, how many data products, how many subdomains are in it, etc. This is also mimicking our current glossary term experience, so there's parity in those two as well. On the domain page itself, currently what we have is a list of entities. You can then click between the documentation and data products tab, excuse me. But where we are going is a much more robust navigation experience. So you can navigate across those different levels of domains. And then we're also introducing our new search filtering experience. So there's parity in our core search experience as well. Last but not least, on our homepage, you may know that we have what we call just like our title cards on the homepage. And this gives you, so currently what it shows is, again, this kind of flat level of domains and the number of entities that are contained within it. We're gonna make this, it will mimic the same structure. We're just going to be updating kind of the styling of it, and then also give you an entry point into viewing all of your domains, so you can rapidly jump into that management flow. So yeah, that's the rundown. Like I said, we're currently working on this. We have Chris and Josh working furiously on it, and Brittany at the helm of all of the designs. So that will be coming soon. And oh my goodness, I think I'm right on time. So Miko, I'll hand it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Maggie.
Miko, are you there? There you are. Hi.
Bye.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie. All right, this is awesome. All right, let me thank you guys so much. Sorry for the little snafu that we have. And there's some comments around the size of the font on the slides. So we are gonna go ahead and share the slide deck. We share the PDF version. Scrolling across the screen on the bottom, you could see it has join us in Slack. And so in our announcement channel, we will share the slides for those of you who want to deep dive. All right, so without further ado, let me bring on our superstars. Hello, Neelab and Joel. How are you?
Hey, Mika, doing pretty good.
Are we ready to rock and roll?
We're ready.
All right. Okay, so Joel, if your audio a little bit louder, that would be
Yeah, I'll
highly
just shout,
appreciated.
no problem.
Okay, guys. So Neelab and Joel, guys, I've had so much fun working with them to prep this. I don't know if Tannen guy is in the audience as well, and Atif, but we've had a great time with these guys. And so what you guys are about to hear and see is pretty exciting. If you don't know who Fanatics is, it's so funny. I don't know if I told you guys there was a big Fanatics van outside of my building this weekend. I was like, this is ironic. I actually took a picture. So if you guys don't know who they are, they sell an insane amount of merch, and these guys rock and roll. All right, so let me go ahead and get you guys here up on the screen here. Joel, I just want to make sure. Let me know you're good to go, and then I'll hop off.
Yeah, it looks like my arrow keys are working good.
All right, let's rock and roll. And guys, go ahead and keep the questions coming in the comments. We'll try to address a few of them with our 13 minutes left. Go ahead, Joel.
All right, thanks everybody for sticking around for our case study. My name is Joel Diana with Fanatics, and I'm excited to be here and talk about how at Fanatics we're using DataHub to decode data denormalization in our new data management platform, which we call Dataverse. I am joined by Neelab Chaudhuri, and we are both on the data architecture and platforms team at Fanatics. Our team is responsible for governance and management of data assets, and we've got oversight into the architecture of data platforms. And we have both been hands-on in building out the Dataverse, and so let's see what we're going to cover today. So before we dive in and talk about what Dataverse is actually made of, we'll talk a little bit about our pre-Dataverse environment and why we felt we needed to build a new data management platform. And then we'll talk about the design principles we used to build it and how DataHub plays a key role in our data democratization effort. Then we'll dive into the architecture and talk a little bit about what's on our roadmap. So yeah, Fanatics been around for a while, grown really rapidly in the last 10 years. And our approach to data management has evolved over that period. And our data ecosystem kind of reflected that organic growth in some ways that we found were hampering our efforts towards data democratization. We have our data assets spread across multiple catalogs. Sometimes data sets might be in multiple. We don't have a really great way of consistently applying data retention policies. Our data lake is hard to search. Documentation might be hard to find. It's spread across our internal wiki and maybe up to date, maybe not. And we have no way to track a data lineage. So all of these kind of led us to realize that we needed to build a new data management platform. So when we set out to build the Dataverse, we first wanted to decide what were the principles that we wanted to follow. What did we want Dataverse to be able to do that would enable data democratization? Well, we wanted something that would be declarative to allow users to define data sets in a consistent way that would enable us to apply consistent lifecycle management around data set definition, the categorization or application of our data taxonomy to our data sets, and those retention policies. We wanted it to be searchable because obviously you can't use your data sets if you can't find it. So we need it to be discoverable. We need it to be auditable to support DSRs, legal compliance, and we need to be able to track schema changes. And obviously we want our data to be certified. We want users to know what they can expect from a data set. Some of the same terms that John mentioned earlier, freshness, quality, are things that are important to us. And so with those principles in mind, we set out to build the Dataverse. And this is where we are 3 months into our journey. When we got started, we looked at the marketplace to see what tools were available in the space of data cataloging. And DataHub really stood out to us for a few different reasons that tied directly to our data democratization efforts. Its searchability across platforms, data sets, columns, and obviously, as we saw earlier in the presentation, it's still being added to. It's getting better, which is really cool to see. It does a great job of documentation. It's going to address that issue with our internal wiki being spread out. It'll be the one place where data consumers can go, search for data sets, find that documentation, and also a place where the data owners can go and manage the documentation. And we're really excited about their native integrations for capturing runtime metadata, especially lineage, but also the validations and runtime stats. Now around DataHub, we built some other components of the Dataverse that we thought would be complementary. To address that declarative way to define data sets, we've created a registry. It's a Git repo where users can define data sets as YAML files. It's something we're still adding to, but right now, you define a data set. We're going to add taxonomy to that to allow users to categorize their data sets, categorize all the fields in their data sets, so that when we tie that through lineage, we'll know exactly what type of data is flowing where in our system. And we'll also publish that taxonomy to DataHub as part of the glossary to make it searchable that way as well. We also have an internal middleware system called Data Fusion. It's kind of the engine that powers our Dataverse, just connects all of the different components, does most of the heavy lifting. It will be responsible for communicating changes in data assets from the registry into DataHub and deploying data assets to our target platforms, and probably a lot more by the time we're done with it. And the last was an existing service that we had built a while ago, which we've got a lot of users using internally, our data dictionary, which handles subscriptions and updates. When producers publish new information, our consumers can go to Data Dictionary and find out what new information is available. And so that is just going to be integrated into our system. And with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Neelab, and he will dive into the system architecture.
Hey, Joel. Thanks for providing this overview around what challenges we are trying to solve and the design principles we adopted for our data catalog system in order to achieve this goal of our data democratization. Now we are going to dive a bit deeper and talk a bit about this architecture. As Joel explained earlier, Dataverse is an ecosystem of managing data assets with DataHub at its core. We'll be talking through some of these components that has helped us achieve this. The first one at the top, if you see, it's the data registry. So data registry is the primary entry point for data cataloging management and governance. And this is backed by a Git repo. A user would come in and define metadata of a data set into this repository. And this metadata can range anywhere from schema of the data set, tags, platform where the data set belongs to, environment, domain, etc. Anything that we can think of, right? So This data registry also comes with a toolkit that, as part of a CI/CD pipeline, will validate different aspects of the metadata, like a schema of a dataset, and also if there's any duplicate dataset present in our ecosystem. So data registry then will send the metadata over to Data Fusion, and this Data Fusion is an Akka-based homegrown middleware system that sits in between different components in our data world, as you can see in the diagram. Fusion, on receiving messages from data registry, will create different entities in DataHub, like datasets, schema, domain, glossary terms, containers, etc., whatever DataHub has to offer. It is also capable of deploying and managing datasets on target platforms like Glue, Snowflake, Redshift, etc. So Data Fusion also listens for runtime events from applications where they can send raw lineage data, and Fusion will process this raw data to generate dataset level and column level lineage in the form of fine-grained lineage aspect, for those who are familiar, and sends it across to DataHub. Right now, this lineage functionality is in place for Spark jobs, but we are also looking into generating this column level lineage for DBT jobs as well, and looking into what DataHub will be releasing in the future that Shashanka talked about. So next, we're going to talk a bit about Data Dictionary. This is a homegrown service majorly used for subscription processing. We have integrated this service into this Dataverse ecosystem so that its interfaces are now available to datasets created through data registry, which ultimately ends up in DataHub. Next, we would like to present a roadmap for our future work. So you'll notice a lot of it lines up with what DataHub is also thinking about, and we are looking at leveraging some of their capabilities as well. But we are primarily, for a roadmap, we are thinking of building a unified data quality platform. The goal of this platform is to provide dataset owners and consumers with a paved pathway to onboard and run tests that will continuously enforce and monitor data quality guarantees. And the way to do it would be through data contracts between producers and consumers. Now, DataHub has already recently released these data contract features. We'll be looking to leverage as well. The idea is to run these validations on demand or on a schedule basis, and even they can be event-based. Also, any data quality checks will be incomplete without alerts and metrics. So we'll be developing these alert generator module and metric reporter module as part of the unified data quality platform. And of course, we'll be exploring the new observability features that John presented earlier. Okay, let's take a look how we are envisioning it. So data contracts will be the primary entry point for data quality and will be backed on the same data registry Git repo we talked about earlier. Users can set up tests ranging from custom SQL, great expectations, DBT expectations, and I'll mention this, both these great expectations and DBT expectations are both supported by DataHub natively. So the data quality platform will be running this test and sending this test results over to DataHub. Fusion will be listening for metadata change logs that are emitted by DataHub and will notify users on failures through various channels like Slack, email, etc. We are also looking to create Jira tickets in case of this failures, data quality failures. We're also looking to certify this dataset by generating a quality score based on various factors such as historical assertion runs, number of Jira tickets open, etc. And this operation can be enabled by using the time series aspect of assertion provided by DataHub. So yeah, that's our roadmap for the near future. We are currently operating DataHub and Dataverse and in production and have 6,000 plus datasets managed through the process. As you can see, DataHub not only provides an awesome solution for data cataloging, discoverability, documentation, and providing an end-to-end picture of all data assets, but also provides excellent models and APIs, including GraphQL interfaces for creating and querying entities within its system. So thank you, Data.
Yay. Okay, guys, give them a round of applause. Thank you guys so much. This is pretty awesome. So I was in the chat here and I was looking to see, and hear if we had any questions. So give me a second. Let me get us all up on the screen here. Thank you guys for providing that. I see a lot of cool comments, but I don't see any questions. Are there any questions for Fanatics? I know we're right at an hour here. All right, so there may have been questions that I missed. If I missed them, I do apologize, guys. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you. Please hop into the comments. There's comments on YouTube and LinkedIn, and hopefully we'll have you guys back soon. Thank you, Neelab and Joel. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, guys. All right. So we have come to the end of our first LinkedIn Live Data Hub. We are going to end on time. You guys are awesome. If you haven't already, please be sure to join us. We would love to have you in our Slack group. It's growing really, really fast. So I'll go ahead and put this back up here just for some calls to action. If you guys want to join us in Slack, you can just scan the QR code that is on the screen. In addition, earlier today, I'll take this off here, we had the ability to schedule a demo. So there are a lot of questions about what was in our open source versus our Acryl data cloud product. And so going forward, we'll make sure to be super clear on that. If you guys want to book a demo to learn more about our Acryl cloud, you can just scan here before we go. All right, you guys are awesome. We had a full house today. We'll hop in the comments. Love to meet you guys, and we'll see you guys here next month. So our next actual town hall is going to be September 28th. I'll go ahead and put it up here. Again, to get the first announcements, please join us in Slack, go to announcements, and also to get the slide deck. We're going to post it in there. Okay, you guys are so awesome. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you guys. Have a great day. Thank you.